Hi, thanks so much for choosing to spend your lunch break with us talking about resilience and soul care. We are so very grateful for your presence here. I want to begin us with this idea of what exactly is resilience and what do we mean when we talk about it. I think there's a temptation to view resilience as superhuman and supernatural, and we see superheroes in our minds when we talk about the word resilience. And I mean, there's been national conversation, right, about how teachers are heroes and doctors are heroes and nurses are heroes. And please hear me say they are. And that's not because they're superhuman. And it's not because they are superheroes. It is because they have done the gritty, dirty, daily hard work of practicing resilience. And that's what we're here to honor today. 1128 has been so grateful to get to be a partner alongside of many of these first responders as they have become these heroes. We've made them. It's not that I want to dishonor them. In fact, it's just the opposite. I want to give you maybe a peek behind the curtain about what it means to practice resilience. The word resilience means to be able to withstand or to recover from big changes. And the people that 1128 is honored to support have been the people who have been doing that throughout the pandemic. And I would say, I think a lot of us have practiced this in our small little ways, right? We learned how to get groceries a different way when COVID first began 2 years ago. And we quickly adapted to, okay, so this is what it means to work from home or school my kids from home or countless other changes. But these people we're here talking about today, the pastors, the teachers, the nurses, the firefighters, they have been doing this work out in public, in large public spaces where we've been trying to sort out these huge changes that we're experiencing. And they've been having to do it in the public eye and with people that depend on them. And I think it matters that we honor that hard work because, again, it's not about being a superhero. It's about daily withstanding and recovering. And soul care is such an intricate part of that work. And that's part of why we chose this as our theme. So I want to be able to tell you some stories. And for the protection of the innocent, the names and details around some of these stories have been hidden. And that's on purpose to protect the integrity of these people's stories. And I want you to hear me say, I wish I could tell you all bright, shiny, sunny stories about beautiful things that happen in the world. But here's the truth: resilience isn't practiced on vacation. Resilience is practiced in the hard and in the ugly and in the dirty. And so these stories have both. They have places that are hard for people to navigate, and they have these individuals that have chosen to practice resilience. So let me tell you about them. I have four stories to share with you. The first one is of a pastor that we have been honored to walk alongside. And her congregation in 2020 came to her and said, this was before the pandemic actually began. This was in early 2020, and said, we know that we currently have enough financial resources to pay you for 1 year. And we don't know about after that. We'll do our best. And then a pandemic hit. And for the last 2 years, this pastor has walked alongside of her church. She has planned worship. She has preached the word. She has put together COVID recovery kits for people in her church when they've become ill. She has nursed them and loved them and visited them without knowing her own financial future. This kind of resilience only comes through the power of soul work. This woman has had a safe place to say, I'm scared. What if I find out I have to get another job? How am I going to support myself? What am I going to do? And because she's had a safe place to be honest about her own fears and pursuing God in the presence of those fears, she has also been able to continue to be a faithful servant to her church. That's resilience at work. 1128 is also honored to walk alongside several nonprofit directors. And one of them, particularly in the beginning of the pandemic, realized every part of what we do is based around in-person gatherings. We're going to have to change everything. And at the same time, they lost a lot of their financial support. So, how do you completely rebuild a nonprofit when suddenly the ways that you have operated are not available to you and your financial network has crumbled? With resilience, that's how. It looks like reimagining being online, just like so many of our churches did. But here's the kicker: this nonprofit has discovered there is an honesty and a vulnerability available in online spaces. And it has become a beautiful part and the main part of who they are and what they do. It's a beautiful gift. And this nonprofit director has been able to practice in this way, has been able to continue to be creative and to reimagine because she's had a safe place to say, well, what if? What if we don't make it? What does that mean? What does that mean for me personally? What does it mean for the people that I am charged with caring for? What does it mean? And because she's been able to be honest about her own experience, as well as be in God's presence with that experience, she has been able to find the beauty in changing formats and in searching for a new donor base. This is resilience at work. There is another woman that we have been honored to walk alongside for many years now. And this past year brought a swift change when her spouse got a new job in a different state. And suddenly she had to leave behind ministry work that she had loved, ministry work that she had flourished with, because she was going to be with her family and this job was going to move them. And resilience in that space doesn't look like sticking it out, even though that's an important, resilient part of work sometimes. For this pastor, resilience meant that she had to do the hard work of grieving for herself so that she could be honest to the congregation. And then the congregation had space to process their grief and her leaving as well. And this beautiful practice of being honest with who we are in God's presence brings about beautiful work of deepened faith, a beautiful opportunity for a church to learn and grow together. This is what it means to follow Jesus: life, death, resurrection. That's resilience at work. The last story I want to tell you about is about a particular person, but it is also happening all over our country right now. This particular pastor has been in our care for all of the years that 1128 has been operating. And it is a gift to know this wonderful, amazing pastor. In the last 2 years, she has discovered, along with many of our other pastors, that her church is shrinking more rapidly than they were prepared for. They've gone from thriving to barely surviving in the 2 years that COVID has ravaged our country. And even though the pandemic is lifting, shifting, changing, maybe that's some resilient language too there. Even though the conditions around the pandemic are changing, they're noticing the people aren't coming back. And so this woman, because she is wise, because she has taken the time to care for her soul, she is able to grieve the loss and she's able to say, okay, what is the gain here? What can I find that gives me permission to do something new, to try something different? And there's flexibility that you can find when your numbers are smaller. Well, that's a gift. There is also more, I don't know, resilience itself in the people that are left in your congregation. And they're more willing to bend and to change and to try. She would not have been able to find that place as quickly, that place of resilience, if she had not been able to be in a place where she could be honest about her own feelings, where she walked alongside someone who was reminding her that this is how God is in the world, that God is not afraid of changing circumstances, that God is with us. In this way, soul care invited her to be honest with herself, to be honest with God so that she could be honest with her congregation and they could walk together toward, all right, maybe there is some new flexibility that's a gift that we found in the loss. I hope that you hear in all four of these stories that resilience is not a one and done kind of thing. It is a daily practice. And these pastors, they know, they do it, they practice it. And 1128 is honored to be their partner in this hard, beautiful, good work. Will you be our partner too? Will you help us continue offering the tools and resources that these pastors and so many others need to practice resilience?